Football, it's back. Nick Roush, Adam Luckett, rapidly reacting to the first open practice season. It was Kentucky Football Fan Day. We're here at the Joe Kraft Football Training Facility where we just watched the Wildcats practice for 2 hours, and it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for football to be back, and we got to start where we should start. The ass kicker's back to kicking ass. Josh Caddis. The thing that I love about having these open practices like it is we get players fighting, we get them chirping, we got bodies flying all over the ground. Mark Stoops talked about how all offseason he wanted to bring the physicality back, and Brendan Bates said that they cranked it up a ton in this first open practice.
Literally first play 11 on 11, it's Caddis and Trayvon Ripka mixing it up after the play. I was like, well, we're back.
Yeah, all the way back. We had a nice little back and forth. It was 2 or 3 plays in a row where he's going at it with JJ. JJ gets one, they start chirping. And then after JJ got the best of him, Caddis kind of walked off a little stinger and then did the little, I don't even know what you call that release.
Pass.
Yeah, little fake and then whoop, right down the seam for a score. So there was a lot of chirping between him, Ox, and JJ. And I love having that juice. There was a lot of juice left in this practice.
Yeah, for me, I think a big thing and the biggest takeaway of today's practice was last time we were here in the spring for the spring game, Kentucky could not run the ball. I mean, just getting blown up.
Not at all.
There. That was not the case today. They were creating areas, gashes at some points for the run game. The run game looked good. Mm-hmm. Clean pockets for Devin Leary for the most part. They had a couple. Deion Walker had a big win later in the day.
JJ had a nice one.
But for the most part, they are holding up and they look like a real SEC offensive line. That was not the case in the spring. You left the spring, leave me at least really worried about the offensive line. I wasn't that way today. A pleasant surprise was seeing how well they played up front. Thought the pass game showed some rust.
Yeah.
No Barry and Brown today.
That certainly plays into it. When you don't have your best, most explosive playmaker or receiver. He was one of the few guys that was a soft tissue guy, as Mark Stoops likes to refer to. Just some minor injuries. It's preseason camp. Josiah Hayes limped off with something. There was no Jordan Dingle today either. And you're right, Luckett, the pass game was a little rusty because they didn't have those guys. But my biggest takeaway was how they used the tweeners in the passing game to open things up. Isaiah Cummings, he had a huge year for Liam Cohen in 2021. He talked about bringing that role back for him. And Isaiah Cummings is a bona fide mismatch. He had probably one of the best practices of any of the playmakers all day, catching the ball downfield and also using him in the passing game as a blocker to open things up in the running game. Demi Sumo Karmbe, we thought of him as a pass-catching running back. Hell, he played as much receiver as he did anything else today.
Right.
Yeah, he looked great as a route runner. So how Cohen can use these guys who are versatile in multiple ways, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And the other part, too, we talk a lot about Ray Davis as his physical in between the tackles guy. Dude's a pretty good pass catcher as well. I didn't know he had that in him.
Light on his feet, had some sharp cuts, was able to get in and out of breaks. Looked really good. Looked like his legs are fresh, which they should look at this point in camp. Yeah,
that's true.
To me, I think a big one was Anthony Brown, early enrollee, true freshman receiver. He's really going to help them. He was just, in 11 personnel. He was the third receiver.
He took Barry on spot.
Right.
Yeah. He stepped right in as a true freshman.
He's going to have a real role. Crisp routes. He even had a nice play on a deep over route and made a nice catch. He is going to help them this year. And Shamar Porter, it's our first time to get eyes on him. Just looks the part.
He does look the part.
I thought that the secondary was impressive, making competitive plays on the ball. They weren't in their typical zone shells today. They played a little bit more man, so you got to see more competitive one-on-one situations. And I thought if you picked a winner between the secondary and the receivers, I would pick the secondary today. Now, obviously, 2 big pieces were out with Jordan Dingle and Barry and Brown not in action today. But overall, I thought the defense made some plays there, and then the offensive line just looked like the SEC offensive line, and Mark Stoops kind of unprompted said, I can feel our physicality coming back. Mm-hmm. And if you're wanting to hear good things, because it's going to get pretty mum here pretty soon, the information we're going to get, the fact that they're making strides there is a really big deal. I think this far in camp, and Liam Cohen's already making a big impact, because if you got in your DeLorean and went back this time last year, everything was a mess. The offense was a mess. Will Levis was throwing 3-4 interceptions. They couldn't run the ball.
Ugly, yeah.
Things just didn't look good. And today they looked
fluid.
They looked fluid.
There was
they looked like a real SEC offense.
Exactly. It was a fluid operation offensively. The two big position competitions that everybody wants to talk about, it's offensive tackle and cornerback. And at cornerback, I do feel much better about where they are, particularly with Maxwell Harrison, Andrew Phillips. They're very physical out there.
Those are the clear two right now.
Yeah, they're 1 and 2. As far, we saw Jansen Dunn make a few plays on the ball, but there's not a whole, that's with the 2s and 3s, right? Like, I feel comfortable where they're at right now with Harrison and Phillips. It's obviously only one practice. The other thing you have to take into account, too, a lot of these new guys, they're not getting the same amount of reps as the guys who have been here. David Rayner, he's going to be LB3 probably. He was running with the 3s, Same thing with Cortland Ford. I don't think he was with the starters at all.
He was with the 2s, but yeah he was strictly with the 2s today.
They're breaking guys in. For a lot of them, it's very much, this is an earn-it type of deal. It's one thing if you were here in the spring, like as we saw with Anthony Brown getting to step up and play right away, but you got to earn your keep here. So I know there was some people, I had one guy ask me on the sidelines, he's like, did you see Cortland Ford? Like, what's going on out there? It's like, no, don't worry, let's not all rush too quick at judgment, but let me rush quick to judgment because I just love to watch Josh Caddis whoop some ass, man. That guy, dude took his red jersey off just to go back out there and hit some busting heads.
It was like a wrestler.
Or like the Bash Bros, Mighty Ducks, when he throws his pads off in the stands. Yeah. It's fun to have football back. It was fun to watch, too, the defensive line and offensive line, just having that physicality in the trenches, having Eli Cox win a big one right against Deion Walker. The whole sideline goes nuts. And then, 2 plays later, Deion just whoops his ass. Like, it was a lot of back and forth. And that's what you want to see. Like, this is what preseason practice is all about. It's getting that competitive juices flowing, getting that physicality back, and getting ready for kickoff, which is only 4 weeks away. 4 weeks away, we're going to be right over there at Kroger Field when the Cats take on Ball State, and I can't wait. I'm ready now. I'm ready. This is all I needed. We're all the way back.
It's football time in the Bluegrass.